Albert von Thurn Taxis on the far side and the white and black Lamborghini. The grid is being cleared now. Eduardo Freitas is race director, making sure that everything is being done according to the FIA regulations. And last few people just leaving the grid. Was the doors shut? That's okay. And everyone getting ready there. In fact, the lead car's already moving away on the start of this formation lap. And 28 GT3 cars. We've got 8 different manufacturers represented in this race. We've got Porsches, Mercedes, BMWs, Ford GTs, we've got Aston Martins, Audis, Ferraris and Lamborghinis. It's a wonderful mixture of supercars. These are the GT3 cars, so they run to much more standard specification. Driver aids such as ABS and traction control, they're allowed as well, which really helps the gentleman drivers. Yeah,
I think it does. It actually, even for me, I'm actually doing the GT3 at Spa the next race, and it's something that the ABS is damn interesting because you can brake so late with these things. So from that point of view, even for these gentleman drivers, actually adapting to a sort of a race car on a race track and being able to brake so late, it takes a bit of time to get accustomed to. But this is the challenge of this GT3 European Championship.
Yep, and the marked cars making their way around on the lap as we just run through the grid order there at the bottom of the screen, so that gives you an idea. And you will see, if you watch both GT3 races this weekend, quite a lot of difference actually, because of the sharing between two drivers of quite different abilities sometimes. Get a real mix-up in the results, which adds to the entertainment value. So we'll see what happens. For example, Mike Parisi took pole for the second race of the weekend in the number 3 Graf Racing Mercedes, but it starts back on the 5th row of the grid for this one. It's actually 9th on the grid because his teammate clearly wasn't quite as rapid as he is. So you do get a real mixture.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing. Of course, when they change drivers, Mike then gets in the car, but he's starting further back, and then he can actually push and try and come through the field. That's where I find the racing is really, really interesting to watch. Yeah,
that's right. So the quick guy gets in the second half of the race in this one, and as you say, we'll try and gain as many places as possible. His teammate Philippe Giac is a businessman, like many of the sort of amateur gentleman racers, and 48-year-old Swiss businessman, and he's still done pretty well to get it on the 5th row, and he'll hand over to Mike Parisi later. But up front, what's good about the number 24 Lamborghini, Johnny, is that the two drivers, Albert von Thurn Taxis and Niki Marmelhoff, seem to be pretty evenly matched. They're both silver-rated drivers. Neither of them are gold, but they're both pretty damn good, aren't they?
Absolutely, and they seem to be very suited. I know Albert loves the Lamborghini. He seems to be very suited to here, as I said before. But they both seem to be doing very good as well. So I think they're going to be quite tough to break, but it's possible. It's going to be all down to the start, like Albert was telling us. But I think Paul in the Porsche there is going to try the best he can to actually get in front, and that's what's going to make it really interesting. So we have the number 8.
Yeah, the Aston Martin starting from the pits there. That's the LMP Motorsport Engelbert and Delhaize car, so I'm not quite sure. They must have had a problem. In fact, it's not Engelbert in the car this weekend. It's a slight change on driver lineup. Jean-Charles Minietti is in that car this weekend. Engelbert's just concentrating on GT1 in the Corvette. Now then, pace car has got them nicely gathered together, so hopefully they'll hold formation around the last couple of corners. They've still got the left and right that lead them back onto the pit straight.
Well, hopefully they'll be sort of getting all the temperature they can in the tyres, warming the brakes, because obviously the brakes are going to be important for braking into turn 1.
Yeah, that's right. They've got to try and, these mid-engine and rear-engine cars, they've got to try and make sure they've got temperature in the front tyres. That's the key thing, isn't it, as they get ready for the start. So here we go then, the FIA GT3 European Championship race at Paul Ricard. Beautiful weather conditions is about to get underway. Lamborghini versus Porsche off the front row as the lights change. And it's Albert von Thurn Taxis on the right as we look at it. Paul van Splunteren on the left. And cars going all the way across the white lines. You must be careful about that because drivers were done for that last year. Albert von Thurn Taxis leads, but the Mercedes just squeaking into second place.
Ferrari.
Oh, and the Porsche coming back across the blue. Cars on one side and the other. That is the thing about this track. If you can use a lot of runoff, and the Lamborghini's only still just in front of the Ferrari. It's got into second place. Federico Leo in the black Ferrari squeezed his way into second place. Bauman's back down to third in his car. Glengetty in the red Ferrari. Oh, and a spinner. That was Bauman. Bauman from third has spun in the Mercedes SLS, and he's thrown away all that hard work in the first couple of corners.
Wow, that's not the best thing to do that early in the race. They should be aware of these cars are going to be very loose, but he's going to make it really difficult for himself and obviously his teammate when he gets in the car a bit later.
Yeah, that's going to be hard work. The other Porsche further back down the field, the number 2 car trying to make a bit of ground as well. On board with the championship leading BMW Z4, qualified poorly, but can it now make a little bit of progress in the early stages, coming down to the chicane? Potential outbraking, but also potential time to hit somebody if you're not careful. You can just see him in the background getting past the number 21 car of Duncan Cameron there. So we're back on board that BMW, and Herbert Voss much happier, I think, with the handling of the car than he was in qualifying this morning.
Well, it seems to be, and I've said he's on those slightly different tyres, and that may be something that might, if he can get a good start, they might come work into his play. This circuit is very aggressive on the tyres, and they have an hour's racing to go ahead.
To other BMWs there, the Need for Speed Team Schubert cars, the black and white cars, they're on the Dunlop, remember, and they don't necessarily have the initial pace, but they should be solid later on. Number 33, black and white Audi R8, race winner last time out, but under some pressure there from Glyn Geddy in the number 51 Ferrari, the new 458, new to GT3 this year. But what a competitive proposition it is. But does it have the reliability to... oh, and he's having a little look. No, thought he might have a try into the last corner. There's a Mercedes on the move. Several Mercedes all running together in that little group. And the Porsche has definitely gained some time. So it's Lamborghini leading of Albert Montana Taxis. Castellacci, Federico Leo in second place. The car he shares with Castellacci, the Ferrari. Third blow. Look at the BMW here, riding on board as he tries to make another place. He's got down the inside. This is for 16th position as they come down into turn 1. Comfortably done. And getting past Mark Patterson, that was in the United Autosports Audi. And now going chasing after the number 16 Audi R8. And everybody trying to settle into position in the early stages of this race. Also got a battle there between Le Sounier and the number 11 Mercedes, which was the Machitsky car. So there's the Mercedes trying to recover, by the way, number 44 car. Remember, he had a spin. Oh, back on board with the championship leader. What happened there?
I think he was just trying to get up the inside.
Right,
Didn't quite make it. Got the nose chopped off him. Now he's got that long straight. It's the Minstrel Straight. It's 1.8 kilometres long with a chicane down the middle. It used to be without the chicane, but the chicane just makes it that little bit more difficult for these guys because they're braking from quite high speed, about 250 kilometres.
Interesting, isn't it? The top speeds are actually not much different to the GT1 cars. They have less downforce, so they're actually a bit more slippery through the air. So they might have a tiny bit less power, but they're just about as fast in a straight line.
Absolutely, but then they haven't quite got as much for braking. Here's a restart.
Yeah, look at who did what, and what happened with the Lamborghini sort of got away. It was all about second place, wasn't it? Because the Ferrari managed to squeeze through.
You see the Ferrari slipped through down the inside of the Mercedes, so he actually got a very good, clean start. That Mercedes and that Porsche were fighting over each other. The Porsche goes off across the blue, but he goes round the outside of the Mercedes. A very good start for that black Ferrari.
And there's there's a spinner for the number 16 Audi. Hopefully he'll get that pointed in the right direction again.
Yeah, there's that blue paint making all the difference to stop him from spinning off further.
Absolutely. So there is the Ford GT. Now that's the next one, I think, under threat from Herbert Voss. Actually, he lost a bit of time on that lap, Voss. I think that resulted, we sort of caught the end of it from the onboard, and he ended up losing a bit of time, but he's regained it again. It's still the Lamborghini of Montana Taxis who leads. That's Glyn Geddy on the attack in the Ferrari here, trying to get past Enzo Eid. He's having a look. No, Enzo, the youngster, but who's taken 2 wins.
Through, actually.
Do you reckon he got through?
I think that the black car, went a bit wide. We'll see in a minute.
Yeah. Meanwhile, behind him, it's still de Moustier. Sandstrom in his BMW is running 7th. Chava Walter in the number 7 BMW is running 8th. And then Gioc in the car he shares with Mike Parisi is in 10th. So the Ferrari did get through. You're right, Johnny. And in fact, that's the other car. That's the 15 car. The car shared with Dino Lunardi, but at the moment it's Moustier in the car and just about fending off the BM. Now let's see.
Yeah, it just runs a bit wide there. Then he's just obviously the red Ferrari there has just got the better line where the Audi has to back out. That was a good move, just a pressure move. Just gave enough pressure that made a mistake.
Actually, Jerome de May in the black and blue Audi currently in 6th place. There it is, with the 2 BMWs bearing down on it. And de May hoping to try and keep them behind. The 27-year-old, he's a businessman himself rather than a racing driver. So he's the sort of amateur side of things, but he's doing a good job at the moment. There is Glengetty now clear in 4th. So 5th place for Eade, 6th place for DeMay, 7th for the 2 BMW, 7th and 8th. In fact, number 45 car there of Sladecker, that's running in 11th place, Mercedes. So Mercedes not featuring quite as strongly yet in this race because we saw the spinner earlier on, Baumann, out of that lead group. And the Ferrari really getting away from those cars now, isn't it?
Well, it is. And again, this number 6 BMW has been looking very good, Sandstrom. Edward Sandstrom, and he seems to be sort of have the pace, but he just doesn't seem to quite have enough to pass these cars. And as you said, because they're sort of looking in their mirrors and fighting each other, they're just allowing that Ferrari to pull away.
Experienced driver is Sandstrom, and he's a sort of full-time driver, and as a former Scandinavian Carrera Cup champion, so he knows his business. He's on those Dunlops, as you say, and trying to, as they get maybe better and better as the race progresses, he could be in a threatening position there. The leader, by the way, came across the line last time with a 1.8 second gap, so it's Lamborghini leading Ferrari by 1.8 up front. As we just have a look back at the 2 Graf Racing Mercedes, Giuc is in 9th place, and right behind him is the number 4 car, their teammate's car. So they're running reasonably consistently. It's Grégoire de Moustier in the number 4 car, sharing with Lambot, and then there's another Mercedes tucked in behind. That's the 45 car of Sladecker. So not much difference in performance between these 3, of course. The Gullwing Mercedes SLS with its long body, lots of horsepower, but it's a heavy car as well. It's sort of, on the balance of performance, it probably has more sheer grunt than a lot of the other cars, but it also carries more weight.
Absolutely, and again, I think it's been quite a successful sort of race car, really. You wouldn't have expected it. It's so long in summary. I think it's nearly 2 meters long, but it has all that power. Handle seems to be, handling is quite good on the car, but I don't know if they're quite suited enough to this track, because it's normally very hard on the tyres.
Yeah, he went a bit deep, didn't he?
He went a bit too deep, yes.
Back on board with Herbert Voss, championship leader.
Good run out there.
Yeah, and he's up behind the Aston Martin at the moment.
Yeah,
so
the Aston's got more speed. You can see he's starting to pull away.
Okay.
So again, this is where he's having his problem, because we have a lot of straight. You know, the back straight here is actually sort of half of the circuit, effectively. And he hasn't obviously got that speed. He's got the cornering speed we see there. Can he get up the inside? Very good.
That was just speed through the Seton corner, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is what they need. We didn't see it through the qualifying. There's a Ferrari that seems to be either running wide or pulling out. No,
is that the Getty car? I think or is it the... Yeah, it is Glenn Getty who was running in 4th. What has happened to Glenn?
Must have spun or something.
Yeah, because
must have done.
Dropped about 10 places there. Oh, that's a real shame. It's a brand new car, that one. According to his teammate Dan Brown earlier in the weekend, it is not the same car they raced at Navarra. It's a brand new one, and they were hoping for good things, but something's happened on that lap. Remember, he was pulling away from the group behind him. He got past Enzo Eade, but suddenly he's dropped back as the Mercedes going slowly down the pit straight as well, coming into the pits, in fact. So things beginning to develop. We're still early stages of this race, though. The Aston versus the Ferrari, and the Ferrari doesn't seem to be showing the same turn of pace that it had earlier in this race.
Not in the speed, no, definitely not. No, well, he must have had a spin there. So the double right-hander at the Bessat, yes, and I think he had a big spin there. He must have been a big spin, because he must have gone quite a way off to lose as much space as places as 10.
Yeah.
So it's a big drop, and obviously he's just dropped another one with that Aston Martin there.
So he's in 13th place, yes, that's right, with behind the BMW. So let's see if we pick it up here, Johnny.
Well, that's going through C, and that's the very quick right-hander, and then the next one is the Bassett. Oh, you can hear it. There you go.
Heard it.
I can hear it.
Heard it, can't see it.
And that's quite high speed there as well. So he's going to be a long way. I think we see him coming back from the left.
Yeah, there he is.
But there he is. Yes, it all happened a bit early there. Unfortunate.
The indication was he did it on his own, wasn't it?
He definitely was on his own. No, definitely on his own.
Now look at this lot. Now this is the number 3 Mercedes getting in between the 2 BMWs and trying to squeeze out the number 6 car, Sundstrom. And Sundstrom has actually dropped. Does he drop behind his teammate? Yeah. So Chava Volta in the black, predominantly black Z4, has gone in front of his teammate. The Mercedes are now, though, is
going to pass there, yeah.
Squeezed him out.
Well, both. Nearly the second one there. That number 4 nearly got through. This is where the Mercedes is going to be very good. This is where power is, but this is then where the BMW is very good in these corners. You might slip up the inside. Let's have a look. Not quite.
Trying to. The small pressure BMW.
Possible here as well. Not quite.
Not quite. Very easy to sort of lose the front end of the car to another car there if you trying to slide up the inside without the space, and he's still got the other motor behind him. So Edward Sundstrom not had a good lap there. He was in 6th place. He's now, I think, got to 8th probably. We'll check as they come past us. So the Lamborghini leads Von Turner Taxis, 2nd for Leo in the Ferrari, 3rd Van Splinteren in the Porsche, 4th Enzo Ede in the Audi R8, and then behind him is Jerome Demey, another Audi, then the BMW, this time of Java Volta, who's now 6th, Gioc is 7th in Mercedes, and Sundstrom 8th in his car. There is the other Porsche of Lappalainen. He shares that car, of course, with Jan Heylen, and behind them is the championship leader, Herbert Voss. So Voss really has made up a lot of ground. There he is at the back of that group. So he's in 11th place now, having started way down at the back of the field. He was in 25th, I believe, at the start of the race. So made great progress, that car, Johnny.
No, absolutely, and I think this is where I think we were sort of quite surprised how slow they were in qualifying, even with where the tyres don't always work very well on the qualifying trim, but even though it was that far back. But now we're seeing sort of a proper sort of race pace now. But what I'm noticing, there was the red Ferrari that is actually behind this 35 car. There was a lot of sliding going on, and also the Porsche that's in front of him was sliding as well. Now maybe the tyres are starting to go off on the other cars. Now this is his opportunity to utilise those tyres he's got underneath him, which normally are quite stable. You see the Porsche is still a little bit twitchy.
And he locked up a little bit. You could just hear that transmission shut.
Yeah, but it wasn't too bad. He didn't seem to lose that much time. You've got to be a little bit careful, of course, but it's all about time management in these races.
It is, because unlike GT1, they don't get a new set of tyres to play with halfway through.
No, they don't. And of course, these are drivers who haven't got that experience of tyre management as well. So you've got to think a little bit, and there's pressure rising.
He's done it! He's done it!
I think he may have given him a little kiss to help him out of the way.
Yeah, it did look as though there might have been the faintest touch. So Herbert Voss is on a charge. He's up to 10th place now. He's got past Lappalainen in the number 2 Porsche, and he's going to catch this next group, which is just up ahead is the number 4 Mercedes, and then the 2 BMWs, of course.
Yeah,
the other Dunlop mounted cars, where he's in a Michelin mounted.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I hope he didn't help that Porsche out of the way. That would be not so good. There we go again.
Take a look in the background.
So he's got a good run. We see the BMW is very strong there. We know how close they are there. There's a bit of movement there. Well, it wasn't a big nudge, was it? Even if there was anything.
It was.
Hopefully not.
For him, though, unluckily for him and luckily for us, we've got an onboard camera on that number 35 car. We might, get a view in a minute. We'll try and see if we get it. But there, you're right about the Ferrari being in behind that Porsche now. You said it was sliding around a bit, but he's got good grip through the first couple of corners there. And Glengetty now on the attack. Whatever happened, he spun earlier on and he lost all those places. But the car seems to be running pretty competitively again. Is he going to be tempted? He is tempted!
Nearly had a scratch in his new Ferrari.
Yeah, that would have been a great shame. Not the way to start the weekend. But there we go, he's still in position. A bit wide there for the Porsche. Different choice of lines as they come through the right-handers that lead onto Mistral.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously his pace wasn't that bad at the beginning, but now we've got the BMW has pulled away quite a lot.
Let's see if we can find out what happened to Glengetty, Haley, with the team.
Dan, it looks like Glenn's had a spot of bad luck out there. What's going on with the car?
We just had a little bit of an issue with the rear brakes locking up. It was just a bit of bad luck, really. It just caught him at the wrong point and he went off. But he said the car's fine now and his pace is quick, so we just push on from here.
So Dan Brown, the other driver of that car. Yeah, you're just pointing out, Johnny, is a note on our screens. Incident between car 35, championship leader, and car 2, the Porsche, under investigation. So Ray Stewart will take a look at that, what looked like a touch of contact between the two cars, and you never know whether they're going to make a call on that one.
No. Well, again, they're going to have different views than what we can see, so they will know better than us.
Teams will make their representations. Here's the onboard then. Take a look at this, Johnny.
I'll let you say this one.
You can't back out of it.
Well, he's close. There's a little. I think there's a little kiss.
Tiniest. In touring,
tiny of kiss.
in touring cars, that would have been nothing.
That was nothing.
No,
exactly.
in touring cars, no one would have even noticed that. But of course, this isn't touring cars. This is GT3, so maybe slightly different standards apply. So race leader has now built up a 7.9 second gap over Leo, the Italian in the Ferrari, then chased by Van Splinteren. Still a little way off the pit stops.
Yeah, well, I think this is where obviously the Ferrari is maybe struggling a little bit more. The Porsche now is getting him under pressure. He's looking in his mirrors all the time. the pace is probably coming down a little bit, and of course that's allowing our leading Lamborghini to pull away, and Albert's doing a good job.
Yeah. Actually, we saw this in Navarra. The rears of the Ferraris do seem to go off on a hot surface, and Navarra was hot. They've got traction control, so it's not as if they're going to suddenly slide around putting the power down, but of course as the grip goes away on the back, they just have to go into corners that bit slower. The traction control will take over more and more if there's not the amount of grip available, so the lap times obviously will increase and get slower and slower. Let's look at Van Splunderen as he has think about going up the inside. I don't think that's a serious attempt though, and they follow each other through the chicane.
No, fine. Actually, on speed, they seem to be sort of fairly similar down the straight at the moment. So he's got to have to do the hard work and try and do it through the corners that are coming up very shortly for him.
Take a look at another replay here. I think this is with Herbert Voss once again, wasn't it? That was somebody going off just ahead of him.
Yeah. So I think these two were fighting in front of him, and then obviously he just ran a bit wide or missed the braking point, and off the track he went.
Yeah, that was Gregoire de Moustier, I think, who went off, and he's now behind the Philippe Gioc. Oh, and off gone Sundstrom, Edward Sundstrom, front runner in the championship, and he is pulled off to the side of the track. Currently second in the points coming into this event, Sundstrom, and he was in that battle. He dropped a place or two, but he is out of the race, and that will have a big effect in terms of the points at the end of this race. So, all happening. Meanwhile, Herbert Voss, the championship leader, as we know, there was an investigation on screen. No comments about any penalties, though, so that's disappeared for the moment. But car 6 has stopped out at turn 9, as we've just seen. There's the second place Ferrari, still being pushed by the Porsche. Classic confrontation between two of the great sports car manufacturers in the world. Ferrari versus Porsche. These,
of course, could be an overtaking manoeuvre here.
Yeah.
The Ferrari went quite wide into turn 1. The Ferrari's got a bit of a drive there, so maybe he's going to be able to do it. We'll see another overtaking into turn 1.
Yeah, Porsche versus Mercedes this time. Maczynski has just managed to get through there in the Charouz Gravity Run Mercedes SLS, and Lapalainen could not quite fend him off. So we're still about 6 or 7 minutes away from the pit window opening up. Lots of flashing of lights going on, and yeah, the place is taken. Now that's Bowman, number 44, remember, had a spin on the opening lap, but he's got good pace in the car, and potentially is a front runner. It's just that he had that mishap coming down here the first time on after the start of the race. So we'll see whether he can do any more. Meanwhile, the leaders are on the Mistral Straight once again. This is the closest battle that's going on. Jérôme Demey in the Audi versus the BMW of Java Volta, who has a think about it. Drops back into place, though.
This is all going to sort of help that third car there, that Mercedes. And obviously this number 4 here to sort of close the gap. But obviously if there's those two cars, the R8, they're leading those cars, they're going to be fighting a little bit. And you see the Mercedes there was trying to get past that BMW. So they're all sort of treading on each other's toes at the moment, which is allowing those Mercedes to get onto the back end of these two cars in front.
You can see how the BMW's been lapping a bit quicker over the last few laps to allow him to catch up. 3 thousandths on one lap, but before that it was a couple of tenths per lap. So it's potentially a quicker car on the Dunlops there. There it is, and so the Audi does begin to be seen to be holding this lot up, but it's his right, his duty, if you like, to try and stay in front if he possibly can. And they're coming around to complete another lap. We've had 9 laps completed by the race leader now, as we're just over 40 minutes to go in this 1 hour race, with the pit window opening up in just over 5 minutes. The lead has opened up to a whole 10 seconds now over Federico Leo in the Ferrari in second, then Van Splunderen in the Porsche in third, Ede is fourth, then this battle for fifth, 6th, 7th, 8th. That's how close they all are together. A bit of a gap back to 9th place, which is Herbert Voss in his BMW Z4. 10th place is Glyn Geddy in the Ferrari, which had a spin but has seemed to have recovered. Maczynski is 11th in his Mercedes. Baumann is 12th in another SLS, and 13th is the other Porsche of Lapalainen, and then we've got the Aston Martin running in 14th place. So this is probably the closest confrontation at the moment, and the number 3 Graf Racing Mercedes there, which will be taken over by the man who was fastest in qualifying this morning, Mike Parisi. I think Mike will be fairly happy to see where that car is at the moment, Johnny, because he'll feel when he gets in the car, so he'll have a chance. But look at Java Volta here, really lining that Audi up.
Yeah, well, he's been put in under pressure for the last couple of laps, but he just hasn't been quite close enough in the right places. I think they're sort of similar here. We know the R8 probably is a bit quicker than that BMW. He's flashing his lights, trying to do the psychological overtake, but that's not going to work this time. But of course, it's just allowing, though, he's run a bit wide there. The Mercedes here, now you see, a little bit wider. I think he's going to have good drive here.
Yeah.
Now that BMW is going to be under threat now. So he's trying on the outside. He's got the extra power. Has he got enough to pass it through that very fast seam corner coming up?
So let's take a look now. The BMW fights back down the inside, but the Mercedes does go around the outside. It had just enough to do that, but the BMW might be able to nip back down on the inside here. Careful!
Oh, and now he's got the other number 4 Mercedes. Is he going to try and be inside? The BMW's not giving up.
Oh, he's lost it!
Why?
And he hits the championship leading BMW. The two Z4s take each other out. Would you believe it?
Oh, dear, dear, dear.
That is not what they wanted to see. Well, in fact, he's not in that car. Al Faisal's car's already out. That's 3 BMWs out of this race already. Would you believe that? And Herbert Voss had nowhere to go. He was completely innocent in all that, but the other BM spun across in front of him. Oh, and that's going to change the championship stakes completely. He cannot believe what's just happened. Arms up in despair. He yanks his gloves off, walks away from the stricken Z4. Take another look.
Yeah, well, this is the race. Obviously, he's been passed there by the number 3. He's trying to get back up the inside. Just loses it there. Just really should have taken his time. Then he just spins backwards and bang, straight into that 35 race championship leader. And we see on board
could he
now.
have done anything here? I don't think he could. Watch on board, Voss.
No, well, he can't. He can sort of see it. He tries to dart out, and he's rolling into him. There's nothing he can do. That was quite a big impact. That was. I hope we can see those back out.
Yeah, in the second race.
The second race.
That's have as I say, a massive effect on the championship. And Chaba Volta, well, he will feel awful because he had the initial spin, lost it. I mean, he won't at all have meant to take anybody out. It was a pure mistake. They're loaded up for a long time through that corner, and he. Watch this again, full speed, and listen. I'll go quiet here. Let's listen. How big a bang is this? Watch this. Watch the BMW ahead. Ow! Arms up. What does that mean? Well, he can't do anything about that. It's just in one of those situations, and they're okay. The drivers are okay, but as you say, Johnny, quite a lot of damage, I would say.
They sounded it. It's only one hell of a crunch. So I hope it is. It's obviously it's on the rear end of one and the front end of the other.
So Chava Volta is out. That means that Claudia Hurtgen is also out. She was due to take over in the next couple of minutes, but unfortunately she's not going to be. Let's go and hear what she has to say.
Claudia, sadly you won't be going out. The race is over, but still race 2 to go.
Yeah, but it's very disappointing for me, for the whole team, because it was the first time in the season that we was in race 1 under the first 6 cars, and so I was really quite happy when I saw it, because I know at the end I can push maybe for the podium, but okay, but for me and especially for the team, I think we had a good car, quite a good car, and Chaba was driving very well, but yeah, it's unbelievable.
Thank you.
Claudia Hurtgen, she's a real star on the Nordschleife of the Nürburgring. She's a champion of the VLN series in Germany in the past, and she's in GT3 the last couple of years, getting some good results. Had a victory last year, but not to be today, I'm afraid, not after that little episode. So, number 15 Audi there, still running in 5th place with the 2 Mercedes still ganging up on it. Of course, the BMW was a part of that, but no longer. It means that Geddy has been promoted to 8th now, so the Ferrari that had the spin earlier on has gained a little bit. But what's most interesting in a way now is that the pit window is about to open, and we're going to start seeing some pit stops soon. And that's going to no doubt change things around, and quick drivers will be climbing on board their respective cars. The number 5 Ferrari just moving out of the way there as they come through. We've got a pit stop compensation time, don't forget, for the car that's currently running in 4th. Has a longer pit stop than the other cars around it. Pit window is now open, as I mentioned. Also, the number 3 Mercedes, which actually is in this battle, that has an extra 5 seconds on its stop, because it had, look at this, we're almost 3 abreast as they get past that Audi, up the inside into the chicane, and he squeezes through. The Audi manages to lose just 1 place, not both. He might even have a chance coming back. No, it is Gioc who has managed to squeeze ahead. What great timing, because he does have a longer pit stop than the guys around him. And Mike Parisi, who's due to take that car over, will be delighted, Johnny, to have seen that move.
I think so. Well, of course, he's got ahead. Unfortunately, he's got that 5 seconds in the pit, but he can see the car's good. We saw how quick he was in the qualifying for the second race. So Mike will be, I think, very happy and eager to get in that car.
Yeah, he will. He'll be itching, bouncing up and down in the pits, no doubt, waiting to get in that car. Meanwhile, remember, this race has got a very big lead for Albert von Thurn and Taxis at the moment. Massive lead for him. There he is in the number 24 Lamborghini. Now he stays out there, but Van Splunteren comes into the pits, so the Ferrari also stays out there. Federico Leo, he's staying out, but in, I think, has come Enzo Ede, which has a longer stop than anyone else because it won last time out, so that's got a 15-second longer stop than anybody, well, than the standard cars, anyway, the non-top 3 cars from the last race. Paul Van Splunteren bringing his car right down to the end of the pit lane before handing it over to Max Soule.
Always seems a funny thing to have, isn't it? 15-second penalty because you won the last time out. 15 is a hell of a long time. Hell of a long time.
It's a long time, but it's instead of success ballast, they've gone away from the idea of adding lots of weight to the car. So I suppose
so.
It works out a little bit. And you've got Glyn Geddy in the Ferrari now, and he's close right up to the back of that Mercedes. So good opportunity, and he's bounced over the curb. But of course, he's not coming to the pits yet. He's not handed over to Dan Brown. He wants to try and get past the Mercedes before he does so. And the Mercedes was quite defensive. It might give the Ferrari a run here. Meanwhile, look at all that.
There's a lot going on in there, isn't there, at the moment? But this is all the mixture. They're all going to be checking tyre pressures, as we can see there. So now we're going to see sort of the pros give it a good old race. So this is where it's going to be quite an interesting, quite a fight back for some of these teams.
Yeah, that's right. The quicker drivers generally will be getting in the cars now. Not always, but it's generally...
Not always, no.
Mostly the quicker guys go out second in the way this works. And Glyn Geddy still hasn't quite got past the number 4 Mercedes. Bunch of cars heading down pit lane past our commentary position. Look at that, look how close they all are. And Greg Franke, who's taken over from Enzo Ede, despite their extra 15 seconds, he's still in the mix with a bunch of other cars there. And there is the race leader on his own. Albert von Thurn and Taxis, will he be coming in next time? Look at this release. Mercedes sliding out into the pit lane. Oh, what was that about?
Not quite sure.
Very strange. Quite know where he was planning to go. You've got to slot in behind the other car. No, anyway. No, still no sign of him coming in. So the team's decided to leave von Thurn and Taxis out for a while. He's got some great laps still going. 2 minutes 11.8 on that last lap. He's got a massive lead at the moment over the Ferrari in second place, if it hasn't come into the pits yet. And it's looking comfortable on board, isn't it?
Well, he's done, consistently. We haven't seen any mistakes from him, which is absolutely great to see. And I think they're keeping him out because obviously he's in a good groove at the moment. And they may as well take the advantage that he's doing on the racetrack at the moment. But I'm sure he'll be coming in the next lap or two once the pit lane is clear of other cars.
Yeah. Oh, another little move. This is the number 36. Nicky Katzberg is now at the wheel of that BMW. The only remaining Z4. We started with 4 Z4s. We're down to 1, I'm afraid, after one incident accounted for 2 cars. But Nicky Katzberg, who races in GT1 in the Nissan, he is one of the fastest guys in this field. And look at him, just how quickly he can pull away from some of the cars he came out of the pits with. Meanwhile, Glyn Geddy is in, and Dan Brown, who we spoke to early on in the first stint of the race, is now climbing on board. Now, there's no panic pit stops in GT3 because there's a minimum start time they have to sit in the pits, which should give them plenty of time to change drivers. There's no tyre change. They are allowed to readjust tyre pressures, though, as you can see.
Yeah, I think normally a driver change can be done in about 20 seconds, but they have far more time, so it can be quite a sedate change.
Can be, but you always want to get it done as quick as possible.
Absolutely.
Von Thurn and Taxis, there he is, with a 10-second lead over the Ferrari of Federico Leo before the pit stop. Of course, you've got to make sure that everything goes smoothly at the pit stop, but he looks very controlled at the moment, and Nicky Marmelnoff really happy with the way things are going. Nothing nicer in the world when you're doing a 2-driver race than to be handed a car that's got a lead of 10 seconds.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I think that's always going to... You can see he's very, very pumped up there. And again, he'll be eager to get into the lead car.
So is he coming in this time? Let's have a look. Got to do it fairly soon. Stay out for another lap? No, he is coming.
No, hello. He didn't know what he's doing.
Oh, miscommunication. on the lead car there.
That was a bit strange, wasn't it? It was a bit late, and then he decided not to.
Yeah, that's interesting. Meanwhile, Lambot, Joachim Lambot, number 4.
Mike Parisi there.
Mercedes. No, it's not yet. There's the other one. No, Mike's got the one with the pink mirrors.
He's number 3 then.
Yeah, Joachim Lambot, the one with the blue mirrors, and he's side by side with Dan Brown, who remembers taking over from Glyn Geddy in that Ferrari. So both of them sort of getting themselves up to speed, battling over what could be sort of top 4 position. So it's a pretty important position as they're side by side here. They've got the Audi R8 behind them of Dino Lunardi now, who's taken over from Jerome de May. Now another Ferrari. Now that was the car that was second, the Ferrari that was in second. And that's Leo handing over to Castellacci. So that could join in. I tell you what, that might join in right with this bunch. Well, in theory, it should join in just ahead of them, shouldn't it?
It should do, yes, exactly. But it'll be down to how quick these guys
a mistake
go.
For Brown.
A big mistake there. So he's lost out of place there, which is not so good. Hopefully now he's just got to sort of get himself into this into the groove and consistency, and hopefully get the car to the end without the tyres becoming an issue.
So the team manager counts down the time for the pit stop. Meanwhile, coming across the line is the Porsche. Max Soule now at the wheel. The Ferrari comes out behind the Porsche, though, I think.
Yeah.
So that was that's interesting, because the Porsche, remember, was chasing the Ferrari, wasn't it, in the early stages. The Porsche is now up into what will effectively be second when they've all made their pit stops and they've come back past us again. Look at this lot. They are all basically fighting for 4th position, this crew. And there's not much to choose between them.
No, there's not at the moment. No, the Mercedes here and the R8 is actually the Audi's doing very good, actually sticking onto the back of him, because we get the Ferraris defending himself, has been for the last lap. So we've been under an immense amount of pressure. Run a bit wide again there, so we'll have to see if that Mercedes has that drive and power to be able to pass him. And there we go.
Yeah, and he's in this time after there seemed to be confusion last time, and it's okay. They're within the time window. I mean, if they'd left it much longer, he might have been outside the window. That could have been embarrassing. But they're within the time window, and he's coming with a very healthy lead. So it should all go according to plan. You can watch from on board as he gets himself, he extricates himself from the.
His lanky self out. He's very tall. He's about 6'3",
Yeah.
6'4", something like that. So he's a really tall guy.
Beanpole of a man.
Absolutely. Amazes he fit in there. This is everything going in. The radio's going in. The belts are going on.
He could share a car with Matt Neal, couldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
They would have a pretty similar seat position, I think. There is Castellacci then, and he's pretty quick in this Ferrari, is Castellacci, so we'll need to keep an eye on him. He can put in some quick lap times, but he is behind that Porsche. They're still getting those BMWs out of the way. Now they've got the wrecker truck out there, I see, to pick them up. Now away goes Mar Melnoff. He should have a very comfortable lead. I mean, we won't even see the Porsche, I don't think, coming onto the start-finish straight here before he comes out of the pits. Let's see. Look in the background. You see the lead car coming down. There is the Porsche just coming into the last couple of corners. So that is the extent of the advantage. The Lamborghini's just past our commentary position, so it's not quite out on the circuit yet. There's the Porsche, and if we look in the foreground, you should, hopefully, yeah, there you are. See the Lamborghini.
Closer than I thought.
Yeah, actually not quite as big a gap, although that does foreshorten the gap a little bit. Albert's happy though, isn't he?
I think very happy.
Yeah.
Well, you get a absolutely yes, he's
That'll
happy.
do. That'll do. Big grin. And there is Mar Melnoff then with the
the
lead.
gap is not so big.
I tell you what was
Big
interesting.
surprise.
Yeah, and in the last race at Navarra, they definitely struggled for grip in the closing stages with the Lamborghini. They held on for victory, but I tell you, it was very close. So I wonder, will the Porsche look after its tyres well?
Well, the Porsche has been looking actually quite good. Its pace has been very good. We've seen its lapping is not so bad at the moment. It's in the 210s, which is pretty good. They've just got to keep that pace up, like anything. You've got to keep that pace going.
This is for 4th place. Dino Lunardi in the Audis down the inside. Oh, he made that look pretty easy, didn't he? Straight past Joachim Lambot in the Mercedes. And I tell you what, Dino Lunardi in this black and blue Audi, he was second fastest in the other qualifying this morning, second only to Mike Parisi. And he looks as though he knows this track very well. He's a very experienced French racer, is Lunardi. And he looks to me as though he knows this Ricard circuit extremely well, and he made a great pass.
Absolutely, and it's very clean. And the car's looking very good at the moment, so obviously it's good in its tyres, which is an important factor here at Paul Ricard, because it's a very abrasive surface, I think, as I've been saying before, and it's just something you've got to try and do a bit of tyre management. Now these guys obviously have far more experience than their fellow teammates, so this is where now hopefully it's going to come into play. And now this could be very interesting what goes on now for this last 24 minutes.
Meanwhile, Dan Brown is trying to protect his position, which is now 9th in fact, from the Aston Martin, just tucked in behind. Just trying to see where the other Audi, the Enzo Ede...
He's around the outside.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was a good move by the Aston there. And then tucked in behind them is the number 33 Audi that I was wondering where it was. I think that's the Greg Frankie car he shares with Enzo Ede. And they had the longer pit stop. So that means they had to come out a bit further down the order than they were running in the first part of the race. But they could still get some useful points out of this. So Greg Frankie will be doing his utmost. There is Mar Melnoff. Where's the Porsche? There's the Porsche. Well, the gap has reduced massively. But what will happen in the remaining 25 minutes? In the meantime, let's go down to the man who led so convincingly, Albert von Turner.
Albert, what an awesome stint. But Nicky, will he be able to hold on to the position?
I do truly hope so. I believe that the track is really hot. I mean, we're somewhere around 40 degrees. And so the fear is obvious that the tires will go down on us and will become a little bit weaker. In fact, the Porsche number 1 is in quite close up to our bottom there, and it is quite fast, so we will see what happens. I do hope so. It will be a fantastic start-finish win, and I could really use one of those right now.
Thank you, Albert.
Well, I tell you what, the gods must be smiling on you, Albert, because we've just seen that there's a penalty going to be applied to that Porsche. It might be closing up, but they've got to stop and go. 1 second penalty. Well, it's not the 1 second that matters. It's the coming in the pits and going again that matters. That's going to take a big chunk of time. And they've got a stop-and-go penalty for a wrong pit stop. So they were either out of the pits before their allocated time or some other procedural error. Meanwhile, Greg Frankie on the attack of Dan Brown. Oh, was there a... Oh, round he went. Oh, that's not good news for Frankie, sharing the car with Enzo Ede, winners last time out. And I don't know if there was a nudge initially, but in fact he ended up being the one that spun.
Absolutely, he's the one who's sort of come out of it worse, lost a position, was it, or two, so now he's got to do it all over again.
So there is Dan Brown. He's got a different bunch of cars behind him. We've just heard that the pit stop here was too short, and maybe it was by just a second or so, because they've given them a 1 second stop and go. They've got to be sitting there for pit stop must be 80 seconds, and if they just release them a little bit too early, they actually judge it so that when they hit the line at the exit of the pit lane, usually the team manager will count the driver down. Now he's coming in for his drive-through already, but what usually happens is the team manager will give them a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 over the radio as they go down to the end of the pit, so that the driver knows not to cross the pit exit line until he hears 0 in his headset. But I do know that 1 or 2 team managers get frustrated when the drivers are trying to talk back at them at the same time that they're trying to count them down, and sometimes the system goes a bit wrong.
Yeah, that's a very strong possibility there. Yeah, you see him stop then.
It seems maybe stop right at the top.
Maybe right at the top. Yeah. I hope so.
Well, the team manager car 16 has been called up to the race director. Don't know what that's about, but he's not a front runner. Running down in 19th place, so we won't worry about that too much. Dan Brown in car 51, the Ferrari. He's got who's he got behind him? He's got Christopher Nygaard. Now he's a handy racer who's also doing GT1. So Christopher Nygaard in that pretty Ford GT is trying to get past Dan, and this could be. Ooh, again, the Ferrari's beginning to look to me a bit unstable.
I was just going to say he's been running wide a couple of times when he's been under pressure. So I think he's going to be slipped through as well. Yeah, he's actually made the move, but he seems to be sort of struggling now at the moment, and those cars behind are really going to start putting pressure on him straight away. Yeah.
Well, there's no doubt that we've sort of lost one of the main elements of this race. Although, watch Matt Griffin in number 21, the Ferrari there. He's taken over from Duncan Cameron, who did the earlier stint. Griffin's up to 13th place now, winner of the British GT race at Spa last weekend, and he's definitely trying to get past the Mercedes, but now the Mercedes is quick in a straight line.
Absolutely, but he's getting to the part now where that Mercedes is not quite as quick. We've got this little short straight now, or longest straight. So the Ferrari again there. He was not very good on the exit. You know that we know the Mercedes is good down the straight. He's down the inside. We get the other red with black bonnet Ferrari behind, which is now going to try. Let's have a look.
Matt Griffin trying to go up the inside of Dan Brown.
Yeah,
Dan's
he's run
wide
again. He's down the inside, so he's actually made a move. So again, he's made a few errors, and it's just now in the other cars to come past. We've got that black R8, exactly the same down the inside again. So he's lost 3 places in space of quarter of a lap.
That's Greg Franke regaining the place in the Audi there. So after his spin, remember, which looked as though there was a little bit of a rub. And I did say to Dan Brown, I think, hopefully you don't have the magnet on the back of your car anymore. I'm not sure that is the case, to be honest. So, right, we've got Matt Griffin trying to move his way up the order here, and he's got a chance. Oh, yeah, that was lovely. If he can hold it on the exit.
Not quite.
You reckon?
No.
The Mercedes going to have him back?
Yes.
Yeah, looks like it, doesn't he? He's had good traction off the corner, and Matt has to slot back in behind him. Meanwhile, Greg Franke in the Audis right there too. So Griffin is going to have to try something else. Can he do it into turn 1? Nope, not going to try there. And so just holds on position. Jarek Yanis, that is, in the Mercedes, just ahead of him, by the way. Experienced single-seater driver. He's done quite a lot of Formula 3000, sort of the European 3000 series in the past. But now getting to grips with this car. Down the inside from a long way back. Oh, that was good awareness from Yanis as well, because Matt Griffin certainly went for that. And Greg Franke's trying to get through as well. And suddenly Matt Griffin took advantage.
He did, and it was a good move. He just got to pressure him in the right places, and then with that pressure paid off, he went in a little bit too deep and allowed himself to then make the pass much easier.
And just behind, that's Joe Osborne in the United Autosport number 22 Audi. So he's making some good progress now. British driver on board the white, red and blue Audi R8. As, going up the inside, the other Audi has got through there. So Greg Franke has gained 1. That's put him into, I believe, 12th place. So still not really where he wants to be, which is in the points. By the way, Mark Melnoff still leading this race in the Lamborghini. After we lost that Porsche to its drive-through penalty, I can tell you that it rejoined in 5th place. So the drive-through penalty for the Porsche dropped it down the order. It's gone back out in 5th. It's actually one of the fastest cars on track, but the fastest car at the moment on track is Dino Lunardi running 3rd. Lunardi flying just at a 2-minute 10.0. Also going quickly at the moment is Max Martin in an Aston Martin down in 9th place. There is the Porsche with Mike Parisi breathing down its neck. So this is the race going on for 5th place. Porsche having come out in 5th, but now has its hands full of Mercedes behind, and then another one in the shape of Bryce Bosey. He's in 7th. Jan Halen's got the other Porsche, by the way, up into 8th place now, a bit further behind this group, but not far down the road. Max Martin's running 9th. Christopher Nygaard's got himself into 10th place. As you look at the car that's been setting quick laps, Dino Lunardi, followed by Joachim Lambot in the Mercedes. Then this battle for 5th, Porsche, Mercedes, Mercedes. That's Mike Parisi. Got those bright pink wing mirrors, or door mirrors, so we can pick him out reasonably. There's Dino Lunardi, as I say, one of the quickest guys out there at the moment, 2:10.1, but he is still 10 seconds off the next car up the road, which is the Ferrari of Castellacci. So there's a 20-second spread between our top 3 cars. That's unusual, actually, in GT3. Normally a bit closer than that, but it's just the way this race has gone, and because of the drive-through penalty, I think that sort of scuppered the race a little bit, didn't it?
Oh, slightly, yes, definitely so. That wasn't in their plan, I don't believe.
It wasn't in our script, that one, was it?
No. Nobody's script.
Nobody's script, that one. There's also an investigation going on for Nicky Platsburg in car 36 for a possible violation of yellow flag regulation.
Yeah, I think that's where they've been clearing the 2 BMWs. I know there was double waved yellow down at that far in at the Bassett, which is the double right-hander, which we're just coming up to now. I think it's all clear now. Yeah, it's all clear now, but I think it possibly is here, because you're never really allowed to overtake until after the green flag, which is normally at the following marshal's post. So maybe he did it a bit too hastily.
Yeah, well, he was on a charge. In fact, Katzberg set fastest lap in this race now, I noticed, but he's still all the way down in 16th position, so he's got plenty of work to do to try and overtake a few more. In fact, Gatsberg is, that's close. Parisi almost getting past Max Soule there. Soule just fending him off at the moment. This is good racing.
Now has he got the drive? This is where Mike's going to try and get down the inside, I would guess, into turn 1. not quite close enough. The actual speed of the Porsche and the Mercedes seem to be quite similar.
I'm actually impressed by all of the cars on the straights here at Ricard. I haven't seen any one car, well, I'm sure other drivers would tell me different, but looking at it from the sidelines, no one car seems to have a big edge. They seem
Not a big edge.
Very evenly matched, don't they?
Absolutely. Okay, the Mercedes seem to be able to pass a few cars
maybe
that little bit easier, but it wasn't sort of just an absolute flyby.
No.
So as you say, that was it's good that they're sort of as close as they are. He's going to try it. He's having a look. Just doing all the pressure he can. He's coming on to the important part of the track. This right-hander leads on to the long straight we have, and maybe he's not quite close enough. We've seen that Porsche is very good down this straight. Let's see if he's got enough of a slipstream from it to hopefully give a little shot up the inside into the chicane.
Parisi knows Porsches pretty well because he's raced in the French Carrera Cup for many years.
Successfully as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's won the title, but he's been
the
runner-up.
title. He's always there or thereabouts. So I think he won quite a few races.
Sule was a bit wide there.
Yeah.
Now, has he got enough of a run? I don't think he has, really. Great stuff, though. Wonderful tussle between the rear-engine Porsche and the front-engine Mercedes, which is so tucked into the slipstream there, you can only just see the mirrors.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is where there is a possibility to this double right-hander. You can sort of get close there, and he's going to try. There you go. See, this is typical Mike. He knows this track very well.
That was lovely.
Very well, nicely done. Placed that car perfectly.
That was beautifully done. So the Frenchman on French soil, as you say, he knows the car, he knows the track well, and the other Mercedes trying to do likewise. That's Bryce Bosey trying to come through as well. But Mike Parisi, who, remember, will start the second race of the weekend from pole position, showing us what he can do, and that overtaking's possible when you know the tricks of the trade, as you pointed out there, Johnny. Just getting that different line into the double right was lovely, and not quite what Java Walter managed earlier on in this race, when of course he had a spin and took out the number 35 Z4 as well. So just to remind you what's happening, or what has happened, Albert Fontoura Taxis dominated from the start of this race in the Lamborghini Gallardo. His teammate Nicolas Marmelnov now leads this race by 8.6 seconds over the Ferrari, the number 50 car. The black car, which had a great start in the hands of Federico Leo, and now Castellacci is holding it in second place. We've seen some changes for third, because the Porsche was third, it was second, then it had a drive-through, so it finds itself back in a sixth place. There it is, the blue and white Porsche, and it means that now in the third is Dino Lunardi in his Audi, who is gradually closing the gap up to second, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough in the remaining 12 minutes. Fourth place, we've got the first of the Mercedes, Joachim Lambert, who's running fourth. Fifth place, as I say, for Parisi, the front of this little group. Sixth place, the Porsche there. Seventh place, Bryce Bosey. Eighth for Jan Halen in another Porsche, the only other Porsche in the race. And then in ninth place is Maxime Martin, the Aston Martin. And in 10th place in the Ford GT is Christopher Nygaard. Matt Griffin's got up to 11th place now, so he's making good progress. In fact, he and Nygaard ahead of him are both sort of bearing down on the cars up ahead, so that could liven things up in the closing stages. But I have to say, right now, up front, there is no race at all for the race leader, because it is an 8-second gap for Nicky Marmelnoffer. And that's exactly that. There he is. Look at it. He's got a lovely lead, handed to him by Albert after the pit stops, then by the fact that the Porsche had the drive-through. It should be a relaxed afternoon drive for him, really.
I would think so. Okay, his lap times are not the fastest at the moment. I think he's doing 2:12.9. It was his last lap. And the second place guy is doing 2:11.4. So he's actually sort of, a second and a half faster at the moment in that second place. 8 seconds behind, 14 minutes to go. Going to be tight.
Look at those wonderful Marshalls crash helmets, the bright silver reflective chrome helmets. And there he is, across the line. Gap any different on this lap? 8.6.
No, same lap time.
And this Gallardo seems to be very well balanced. Seems to here, I mean, at Navarra, as I said, it did struggle to look after its tyres a little bit, but here they seem to be pretty consistent. As you can see, comparing with the second place Ferrari, the lap times, okay, the Ferrari gained 1.4 seconds for some reason lap 21, but then lost a bit on the next lap, so it doesn't look as though it's got anything in hand particularly there.
I don't think so, no.
And there's the Porsche still of Max Sule, who at one point looked as though he might be a threat for the lead, but right now, after that drive-through, he's trying to just defend what is sixth place. So things have certainly changed around for them, and he's going to work hard there to hold on to it in the remaining 10 minutes of this race. Katzberg, by the way, I mentioned him earlier. There, we're just seeing him. Look at him. He's trying to gain another place. As he got down the inside, just about squeezes past. Those two have been actually fighting for the last lap. That's Yanis in the Mercedes, who is now in 15th. Katzberg's got himself into 14th, but his next target is, I think, a couple of seconds up the road. Actually, you can just see it. It's the United Autosport Audi of Joe Osborne. So that's the next one that Katzberg will try and pass, and he's about a second a lap quicker, to be honest, on clear air. So he should be able to gain another position here.
Yeah, I would think so. With the time left, we should be on for a little battle right near the end of the race for sure.
Up ahead, perhaps to get that it's a bit further up ahead of them.
Yeah.
Then got to try and catch Greg Frankie, who I think is a bit further up the road. The two Graf Racing Mercedes are now together. Remember, the second of these had a longer pit stop because of the success last time out. But now, these two they drove together last year. Now they're rivals, but within the same camp. They still drive for the same teams, just they don't share the same car. Mike Parisi in the second of the two Mercedes, and he's going to go up the inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he's been running about 2 seconds faster than that number 4 Mercedes he's just passed. So he's very, very fast. Fastest man on the track at the moment. Quite a comfortable amount. I think only the third place car is doing similar times.
Right, so both of them are gradually catching the leaders, but not really by enough to have much impact, I think, in this final 8 minutes. So Lambot in the second of the two Mercedes there, still in 5th position. Soule behind him in the Porsche, and then Bosie with the lights on the other Mercedes. Shame that his teammate had that spin at the beginning of the race. Otherwise, they could have really been a contender throughout, I think, because both drivers, Baumann and Bosie, seem to be rapid in this number 44 car. And they could have done something. They've had a couple of good results this year. They were 3rd in Portugal, 4th in Navarra as well. Here comes the Porsche, though. It's determined to gain the place back from Joachim Lambot. So it's Lambot who's struggling just a touch now in the number 4 car, slithering around.
Francesco Castellacci in the 50 AF Corsa Ferrari gained another second a lap on that last lap. If he can keep that pace up, then he's going to get very, very close to that leading Lamborghini by the end of the race. But he needs to keep that consistency there. We saw the lap before he actually didn't make anything up. So if he consistently does that, then he has got a chance, and then it will be down to that Lamborghini looking in his mirrors and having a look and seeing that the gap is coming down. So Nicholas in that leading Lamborghini. Maya Mel is going to have to start to, I think, to push a little bit more, because he's need to keep that gap. Keep the gap.
Yeah,
keep the gap eventually.
Absolutely. Matt Griffin running in 11th place, by the way, with Frankie. I don't think Frankie might have just got him actually on that last one we saw them through last time, so there might have been a switch around between the Audi and the Ferrari then, as we come back to see whether Max Soule can find his way past Joachim Lambot. Soule started out racing in Minis some years ago, then he raced in Formula Renault in Belgian Series and Rapid in Formula Renault, but now very much driving the GTs here and GT3, and sort of sandwiched by these two Mercedes at the moment. You can look at the lap time, certainly putting in some quick lap times. Lambot struggling more and more with the number 4 car. Gone wide, and that's given Max Soule a hint that he might get through. What about on the exit? But the other Mercedes might take advantage as well. They're all bunched up together so much that Bryce Bosie wants to get through if he can as well. And they're going...
Is he going to go through, I think
he is on the inside, isn't he, this time?
Amazing that. Nice speed down the straight as well. It's a good pass. Not giving up, though.
No, but finally he's done it.
Yeah.
Lambot can't fend him off anymore, can he? 23-year-old student, Joachim Lambot, took 2 victories last year with Mike Parisi, but just struggling a little bit now. And he's got Bryce Bosie, who's also a student, Luxembourg-based student, Bryce Bosie in the other SLS behind. And it's a young team in that number 44 car, actually. Fairly inexperienced, him and Dominic Baumann, when it comes to GTs. But they're a good match for each other, and as I say, they've been getting some good results. 10th in the points coming into this event. The number 4 car there, currently running 13th in the points. Porsche, way down, because they've had some poor results up to now. They've only got 1 point before this event, that Porsche. So it's still going to be their best result of the season. You can see how Parisi in the other Merc has pulled away from those guys in 4th place. Who's lapping quickest at the moment, Johnny?
Well, it seems as if it's Dino Lunardi. I think he seems to be, strangely enough, the gap's come down for the leader to 7 seconds, but actually Dino is actually closing the gap to the second place. He was just over 1.3 laps quicker than the leading guys, but Parisi is probably the quickest man still on the track. I think it's Dino and Parisi, really. They're the only two that are lapping in those 2:10s quite consistently.
Yeah, 2:12, isn't it, for this guy, for the race leader? But then he's got that comfortable 7-second advantage. He doesn't need to really attack. And Castellacci with the Ferrari in second is the one who's got to be careful. So look at the lap comparisons. Yes, Castellacci has been a little faster over the last few laps, but when you've got such a big lead, it's difficult. And there's a photographer who's getting a real idea of what's going on out there, getting some great stills as well as our great action photography out on track.
Yeah, well, that was Nicholas's probably his slowest lap so far. It was a 13.4 against a 12.0. So again, we're talking about 1.4. It's down to 5.5, and behind him there as well with Lunardi, it's down to 3 seconds as well. So actually, it's really coming down to being quite a nice little battle at the end, I hope.
Good. Well, we've had a few of these in GT3 in recent events where it's all suddenly come alive in the last few laps, and that's what, as we talked about earlier, with drivers of different standards and different calibre in the cars at different times, you do get these situations, and it's happening again by the looks of things, so that's good fun. There's Joachim Lambert still trying to protect, but that car looking more and more wayward.
It is. They're getting very nervous and twitchy and running wide, and he always seems to be doing the longest way around the track.
Yeah.
Which generally, from what I remember, is the slowest way around the track.
Doesn't actually work, does it? No. Funny, that one. Max Soule still holding off with the Porsche in 5th place. This is for 6th place. Oh, I don't think...
Could be a pass, I think.
Yeah, I can't see Lambert holding on to this for much longer, really.
Not of the way he's been doing. Okay, he's in the middle of the track, he's defending. But of course, all this defending is doing is making it slower. Because he's going to be slow here because he's tight into the corner. He's going to run wide there. He's going to be a bit tight here. He's not going to then have the drive.
Oh, look at that!
Oh, that was a little bit too much. But again, he's still got the drive, even though he made that mistake. Now, will he go around the outside? Go on, my man.
This is
go around the outside.
Yeah, lovely racing between these two youngish guys. But it's
easy, that.
Yeah, Bruce Bosey in the end, who gets around the outside and makes the move beautifully. I'll give a couple of young Formula Ford racers there having a good old run, but remember they're running with cars that are worth over £300,000 each, or €300,000 each. So it's slightly different to running a Formula 4. But they've done it cleanly, they've done it well, and that means that Bosey has moved up into 6th place now. There's the race leader now. Look back, there's lovely, the Ferrari. Definitely the 2nd place battle hotting up. We are on the final lap though. So with only 1 minute 30, if it's a long lap, you tend to forget just how long this lap is. We've only got the 1 lap, so I'm not sure there's enough time here for Dino Lunardi there to close up.
No, not quite. Well, it's possible. His last lap wasn't bad, so it's a possible. Again, it's the last lap, and you're sort of really hot and sweaty, and you're really trying to do that sort of final lap and not make a mistake, and that's normally when the mistakes sort of creep in. So possibly he's just got to keep on pressurising.
Yeah,
and maybe.
Yeah, Castellacci, youngster, he's a 24-year-old, but he's out of Formula 3, and he knows that. I've been impressed watching Castellacci so far this year with his level-headedness, and I'm not sure he's going to make a silly mistake. That's probably famous last words, but Albert on Tour de Taxis, he's getting all excited because it looks as though they're on for their 2nd win in 2 events here this weekend. They won the first race at Navarra. It looks like they could be on for victory in race 1 here at Paul Ricard as well, if Nicky Barmelnov can just keep it all together. Dropped down into 2 minutes 13 last time around, but again, not really a big problem because he's still got a healthy lead over the Ferrari and the Audi. There they are. Dino Lunardi is the most experienced of these guys and is the one really pushing in the Audi, but he's just surely going to run out of time. Clock will go to 0 before they come round to see the checkered flag anyway, but it's first across the line still counts. And this car has looked so smooth throughout the race, whether in the hands of Albert in their first stint or Nicky in this 2nd stint. Let's just ride with him a second. No, say that, and he gets a bit of oversteer, but deals with it nicely.
Yeah, well, he's got a nice lead. He's got sort of 5 seconds effectively in front. He's just got to do the pace that he's doing, and he won't lose anything.
Yeah,
which is good. They're closing, but it's not an issue, especially on the last lap with Only 2 corners to go.
2 corners to go. It's all comfortably, surely in the bag now.
Yeah.
Same for second place, even though Lunardi's put in a great stint here in his chase of the top 2. It is going to be victory in the first race of the weekend for Albert Montoro Taxis and Nicky Melnoff. For the second event, they take victory in their Lamborghini Gallardo. Second place goes to the Ferrari of Castellacci and Leo. Third, a great drive from Dino Lunardi, who takes a close third place in the end. Meanwhile, fourth place for Mike Parisi, who will be a major threat in the second race because he starts from pole there. Soule was fifth in the Porsche, sixth to Bosi there in the Mercedes. Lambert finished seventh, eighth for Jan Halen, ninth for Max Martin in the Aston Martin, 10th for Christopher Nygaard in the Ford GT, and 11th for Matt Griffin in the Ferrari. The number 21 car. Frankie finished here. Oh, look at this. Still got Nicky Katzberg trying to gain a place from Greg. Frankie on the line, actually. Oh, and it's gone to Katzberg. Katzberg gets 12th from Greg Frankie as they cross the line. Great run to the flag from the BMW and the Audi. And just goes to show how hard these guys are trying. And Katzberg will again be one to watch in the other race. But Federico Leo and Francesco Castellacci, they'll be well pleased with a second place to finish with their Ferrari. And this was the moment that Mark Melnoff took the checker flag and his second win of the season, with Albert leading halfway into the track thanks to his height. He was probably a good halfway across the track, leading across the pit wall there. Well done to the team, and to Reiter Engineering, as ever, delivering a fabulous Lamborghini. They are the Lamborghini specialists, and they've done it again. They've got that car looking immaculate, performing superbly well, and brought home another race win. The question is, of course, will they be able to do it in the second race of the weekend? Well, we'll find out tomorrow. They have qualified 5th for the second race, so they're in the hunt, but might be a little bit more difficult. Nicky will have got more used to the circuit. He did say that he doesn't know the track as well as Albert does, but he's had a few laps now to really get to grips with it. Of course, you didn't have to push that hard, and you don't always learn as much as you would like to when you're in a cruise mode, which is what he was. He cruised to a 2-second victory in the end because he just backed it off on that last lap even more. It was a 2-minute 15-second lap, so really relaxed, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, again, as I said, I think he had that 5-second advantage. It's a hell of a lot to lose. It's possible, but he did it very well. He did exactly what he needed to do. He backed off, kept a view in the mirror just to make sure everything was doing okay, and it was, and took the checker flag, which was nice to see. And it was nice to see with Albert as well. He looked rather happy about it.
Somewhat chuffed. Yes, he was indeed. So we'll see plenty more of Albert. We'll hopefully hear from him in a few minutes, but we'll wait for...
see him again now, look.
Yeah, we'll wait for Nicky to come in, and then we get the winning interview with both guys. Celebrating in the sunshine here, and it's nice to see that he's got a bottle of water for his colleague, who will be somewhat hot inside that cockpit. It is very warm in these cars, and lose quite a lot of weight in terms of fluid even in a half an hour stint. It might not be a sort of endurance race, but it's still hard work in there, so he'll be very happy to get that bottle of water down him, I should think, when he comes into winner's enclosure here. So after a tough start to the year for these guys, where they couldn't seem to buy themselves a decent performance, they had damage on the curb. That was actually Nicky himself. He damaged the car over the curb in the first race of the year in Portimao. They came back to a decent 4th place, but Albert had a spin in the second race there. Silverstone, disappointing weekend. They had an 11th and a 15th place. Nicky had a spin in that race, in the second race, but then it all came good for them here at Navarra, or last time at Navarra, with a win in the first race. They were 12th in the second race, and now another win here at Paul Ricard, and that's going to put them well up in the championship. And of course, we know that in terms of championship positions, the BMW of Voss and Den Boer went out early in this race, so could be a few points changes. We'll look at that in a little while. So out of the car is Nicky, clambers onto the roof, do the celebrationary punch in the air. Lamborghini beats Ferrari. That's the story of today, with Audi in third. So the Italian marks on top, the German marks in the hunt though, with Audi third, Mercedes fourth, Porsche fifth. But it's definitely a day for the Italians in terms of car manufacturers, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at these guys. They are like a couple of kids, aren't they? They are. They're unbelievable. They are great. They're such good value to have in the paddock, and there's nothing like seeing guys who've worked hard enjoy the moment when they actually take victory.
It amazes me when they celebrate. They always say it's stuff in English. Always amazes me.
Yeah. Federico Leo and Francesco Castellacci. That's Castellacci. He did a great stint there.
Very good.
Second part of the race. And it was a good start by Leo too, because he got that Ferrari up. It was all a bit chaotic through the first couple of corners, but well done to Leo. He sort of picked the right place of the road to be in and avoided being knocked off, which could easily have happened, and gained a good position. So
yeah, well, he got 2 positions, I think, slipped up the inside. A great move, and just made his race that much easier.
Yeah, it did. So Castellacci was able to capitalise. They were helped by the Porsche, of course, having that drive through.
Sure.
But that's the way it goes.
Yep.
And yeah, another podium finish for them. They've been pretty consistent actually in the championship this year, so they will be boosted by this performance. They were already sitting 4th in the points, Castellacci and Leo. So this will be good news for them. They've had 1 win so far. That was at Silverstone, and some other good performances. So let's get down to the pits, and we can hear from our winning team.
Congratulations, Nicky. What a race for you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this is like the vice versa we did last week or 2 weeks ago, and an amazing job from Albert. Gave me a 10-second lead similar to the one I gave him, but he gave me the car in much better conditions. I had to fight out there, and I couldn't believe it, and you were up front, and yes, at the end the Ferrari was catching up because I was driving so cautiously just to bring it home, and yeah, just thanks to Albert this time, great speed, and yeah, I'm really happy. Everybody out there.
You were worried about the tyres wouldn't last and wouldn't bring Nicky home and wouldn't get you a podium finish, but you made it, and here you are, another win to add to the team's result.
Yeah, we were quite worried about the tyres. Fortunately, we managed to drive as little as possible in the qualifying, and so that paid out to our advantage in the end. And but I was really fevering until the last second. You know, it ain't over till it's over. So it was really quite exciting.
Cheers, guys.
Home to my cousin Charlie. Ciao, Charlie. Good best.
Thank you, guys. Very happy, obviously. There was the winning car, the number 24 Lamborghini, the Reiter engineering machine, coming home to take victory here by just 2 seconds in the end, but they had it all under control. Finishing in a fine second place, Federico Leo and Francesco Castellacci.
Congratulations, Francesco. You fought hard, but the gap was just too big to close it.
Yeah, the gap was too big. Federico gave me a great car in a great position, and I tried my best to keep this position, and finally we made it to a good second place. More points. Since Navarra wasn't good for us for some electrical problems on the car, we solved. Now the car is really good. Unfortunately, we know that the balance of performance at the moment is not so good because the Lamborghini is really powerful on the straight. But we'll see what's for the next race. We'll go good for sure.
Federico, you haven't quite the season so far.
Yeah, we are very happy for the position, because in the last race we had the problems with the car. Francesco did a very good job because I did a good start. I kept the second place, and Francesco did a very good job trying to catch the Lamborghini, but I think really that they were joking with the time because they were too fast with the balance, I think.
Thank you.
Well, yes, they feel the Lamborghini is quite quick. It obviously is, but maybe it just suits this track, who knows. So that was the second placed car, the number 50 Ferrari of the 2 ex-single-seater racers. They started 4th, got up to 2nd, as they said. Let's go down to our 3rd place finishers now.
Yep. Congratulations, Dino. Did you enjoy that race? You still got 1 race to go. Are you expecting a good result?
Yeah, it's a good thing, but after this race I can say one thing, nearly 1 more lap, and I think we can win this race. We can say tomorrow is another day, and we try to push like today, and try to catch another podium for tomorrow.
Thank you.
So Dino Lunardi and Jérôme Demey, great effort in their Salot Racing Audi R8 LMS. That's the car there, the black and blue machine, number 15, and he was putting in some very rapid lap times towards the end of the race. He starts 2nd on the grid tomorrow, so that'll be fun to see how he gets on. Confirmation of the result then, 27-lap race in 1 hour, won by the Lamborghini Gallardo of Albert von Thun and Taxis with Nicky Melnoff. The Ferrari 458 of Castellacci and Leo in 2nd, and an Audi R8 of Demey and Lunardi in 3rd. Top Mercedes was the Graf Racing car of Parisi and Gioc, and the Pro Speed Porsche had a drive through but still finished in 5th place. Heike Motorsport got their Mercedes home in 6th, fighting their way past the other Graf car just towards the end of the race, which finished in 7th. The other Pro Speed Porsche finished in 8th position, and the Aston Martin, which Max Martin was driving in the second stint, finished in 9th. Christopher Nygaard was 10th in his Ford, and the M-Tech Ferrari of Matt Griffin and Duncan Cameron finished 11th. The only remaining BMW finished in 12th place because all 3 other cars went out. The 2 Audis there, the Ida Frankie car finished in 13th ahead of the Patterson Osborne United Autosports car. More Mercedes further down the order, and then the rest of the field. And 1 or 2 cars, of course, that failed to finish, including the Need for Speed BMW and the former championship leading Faster Racing BMW Z4, which got caught up in Chava Walter's accident. Nothing really they could do about that, but it has hurt their championship. The other BMW had already gone out. There was a technical problem for Sandstrom's car, and we lost a couple of other cars very early on.